thanks once again to Professor Russell. It is my pleasure now to present to you our second respondent, Professor Alejandro García-Rivera, who is a tenured professor at the Pontifical Faculty of the Jesuit School of Theology in Berkeley, and a member of the core doctoral faculty here at the GTU. He's been here since 1993. A native of Cuba, Alex Garcia-Rivera began his higher studies in physics, taking a Bachelor's of Science at the Miami University of Oxford, Ohio, and following that up with a Master of Science at Ohio State University. He was far advanced in his doctoral program in physics when he decided that he was more interested in investigating issues of theology. He saw the ethical issues involved in scientific research and wanted to deepen his sense of what was behind them by entering into theology. He then took the degrees of Master of Divinity, Master of Theology, and PhD at the Lutheran School of Theology in Chicago. He was, at that time in his life, a practicing member of the Lutheran community and became pastor of a Lutheran community before later moving to become a Catholic. Provides him with great resources here at GTU because he has personal experience of these two confessions, and that always is very productive in our own discussions here. He then did further theological work at the Jesuit School of Theology here in Berkeley, and has been very instrumental in helping the dialogue not just among Christian communities, but between classical European theologies and post-colonial ones. He's an expert in Latin American theology, but also very much in the dialogue between theology and science. Somehow, once a physicist, always a physicist, I suppose. But it comes with surprises. You cannot know Professor Garcia-Rivera for too long without being surprised. And one of the surprises is that the element that he chooses to mediate between science and theology is beauty. Since Father Fessio is here, and also Professor Margaret Turek, perhaps I could get away with mentioning this one time that Cardinal Schönborn and Professor Garcia-Rivera share a common admiration for Hans Urs von Balthasar's work and his contribution to a theology of beauty. But Professor Garcia-Rivera has taken this in a way to continue to investigate the relation between theology and natural science. He has one monograph called Community of the Beautiful, a Theological Aesthetics, but also A Wounded Innocence, Sketches for a Theology of Art. And he's working on his next book, which should be called The Garden of God, which engages the cognitive sciences with the theological tradition of the spiritual. He's authored articles such as Light from Light, an aesthetic approach to science and religion, or the dialogue between them, and Creator of the Visible and the Invisible. He is part of a project in Heidelberg at the European Molecular Biological Laboratory there to investigate the potential role of the beautiful in designing experiments. To give you an idea of some of his work and where some of those open questions might be, I just want to cite 3 sentences from an abstract of a recent article from his pen. He sums that up as follows: beautiful form rather than efficient cause is the crucial category for understanding living processes, especially evolution. Drawing on the fields of non-equilibrium thermodynamics and citing Darwin's own observations, the author proposes a new understanding of form that corresponds to the dynamism present in living forms and overcomes the limitations of other metaphysical notions of form. Form as beautiful dynamic form promises an enriched empiricism of beautiful dynamic forms that allows for a fruitful dialogue between science and theology. So for some indications of where this dialogue might lead us now as we read this book, I'd like us to welcome Professor Garcia-Rivera.